Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Ida and today I have a different kind of video for you. Today we're going to be talking about little tips and tricks on the console, little settings you might not know about, little things that might help you in the long run as far as getting your characters to, greater heights and just all around little stuff. So the first thing we're going to discuss is our settings. And by settings, I mean in the actual options of the console. Now, there's a lot of people ask, how do you get to see your numbers, or how do you get these things to do that, and stuff like that. And it's really, I know I was really vague right there, but I see random comments asking me questions to things that I thought everyone, I thought was common knowledge. So we're going to go over those today, along with some other things. To start off, we're going to go into our options, and we're going to go into our gameplay. Elective mode. This should always be turned on. If you don't know what elective mode is, it allows you to, instead of having skills mapped out a certain like A button has to be a primary attack or the right trigger has to be a blah 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 blah. You can instead map any skill you want, any button, which is very, very helpful, because there's a lot of skills that I don't want to use. Like I use absolutely no skills in that area. I use no skills in that area. I use no skills in my primaries. It's just it's very helpful. It works. Now for our next one, we're going to be talking about the being able to see like what kind of damage your skills do. Now, when you get your game stock, you can't actually see what these do for you. It just tells you what the attack does, but not how much damage it does. For that, you go into your options, you go to gameplay, you go all the way down here. Show advanced tooltips. You're going to want to turn that on. And now we can see how much damage everything does. This should always be turned on, because you should always know exactly how much damage your stuff is doing. Because if you don't know, what's the point? You're just taking wild guesses and stabs in the dark. And for that reason, also, we're turning on display damage and crit numbers. Crit numbers is already turned on when the game comes to you. But displaying your regular damage numbers also lets you know how much you're not critting for, because before you start getting really good items, your crit numbers are gonna suck. It's just how it happens. So being able to look at your normal damage numbers gives you kind of an idea of where you're at. Don't bother with these other things. Something you should understand is the more of these that you have turned on, the more you're making your Xbox work and making your system work, the hotter your system's going to get, and the least amount of time you're going to get out of it in the long run. Because every one of these you turn on is going to force your Xbox to create more numbers and more things on the screen, and it just isn't needed, so why do it? Show icons on drop and rarity icons for items. Now this is going to show legendary drops on the map, and it's also going to show what color they are, because there are, the orange legendaries, which are just good old-fashioned legendaries, and then there's green legendaries, which are set piece items. Green legendaries will show up as a it looks kind of like I don't know, like a green star, and then an orange star for the other ones. Alright, now we're going to be talking about your follower. If you play a lot like I do, you're going to end up playing by yourself a lot, because you hate most of the community, because most of the community on the console are a bunch of modders. Yeah. So we're going to go to our follower, and we're going to talk about him for a second. There's 3 followers. You can use any 3 of them that you want. I choose to use the Templar. I use the Templar for his abilities. On enemies to get them away from me. Regenerates life per second. Stunning targets. And you're supposed to be running Inspire. There we go. Increase my Fury generation. A special thing that they added in for Reaper of Souls is the ability to give your guys like legendary. I guess you could call it. Oh yeah, there it is. Templar relic, or an Enchantress focus, or a Scoundrel token. Uh, they have special abilities on each of the legendaries. Like there's one to reduce cooldowns, there's one that gives them all of their abilities, and then there's one so that they can't die. You want to run with the ones so that they can't die, so they're always being able to use their abilities. You're able to throw him into the fray and have him go in and tank for you a little bit. Since he can't die, you obviously don't have to worry about it. Always, however, gear him up any way you can. I didn't throw a socket into his nail biter because I really don't care. He doesn't need it. He's not going to be doing hardly any damage anyway. Give him just a random legendary shield, some rings. Your follower, if you give him anything special like gold percentages or like the Bull Kathos wedding band, you drain life from the enemies around you. You benefit from the same abilities that he benefits from. So if you look at my feet, you'll see like this little. It's really light, but it's like a light gray cloud. Now that should only be on him, but because he's my follower, I'm actually gaining the ability to drain life from the enemies around me as well. So your follower is a lot more important than people give him credit for, especially for people who play by themselves, aka me, because I'm a sad panda. You can also give him, sockets or socketed things, but it's not really needed. In all honesty, obviously I didn't socket the things that I gave him that have sockets. You don't need it as long as you have one of these, which you'll find one eventually. It's not hard to find. If he can't die, he's the perfect little meat shield for you. Next, your Paragon. As you level past 70, you're going to get more Paragon. It's going to happen. You're gonna get them, and you need to spend your points. However, you need to be aware of what kind of character you're running, how you want to run your character, and what you want to do with him in the long run. Because even though you can reset your Paragon points, it's always good to plan ahead. So, for instance, this build, which I'll have a link for the description, or link in the description for this build that I have. It's my Whirlwind Barb. My Whirlwind Barb needs strength and movement speed first, and then into vitality. He also needs to benefit from the maximum amount of attack speed that I can give him, and cooldown reduction. And then, he needs to max out his crit chance, and then crit damage. I wish I could quit hitting that button, but it's an automatic thing. Resource cost reduction he really needs because he spends a lot of fury. Life on hit, of course, for survivability. Area damage comes next. Gold find you don't need because, in all honesty, if you're running greater rifts or if you're running Nephilim rifts, you're going to get just ridiculous amounts of gold. I have 1.8 billion gold now, and I gave away a lot of it. Not even gonna lie. And as far as your defensive stuff, you need to worry about, like, are you going to be getting in melee range, in which case you might want to go more for armor? Are you going to be sitting more towards the back, so you're going to need more life regen, resist all, and armor? Or in my case, I'm going to be getting hit melee, so I need high armor, I need lots of life, and the resist all would have to come after that. Life regeneration per second it doesn't give you a whole lot. 214 times 50 is, a good amount. I can't math, so I'm not even going to try, but these little tips and tricks are going to help you in the long run. Also, you need to make sure that when you pick a character, don't just slap on skills and slap on builds that you see other people doing without thought. If you're going to copy a build and copy and paste a build that you see someone else running, like one of my builds or some other YouTuber's build, don't just copy and paste it. Learn the build first. If you're just copy and pasting something and you don't really take the time to learn the skills and learn how every single thing works, you're just going to set yourself up for failure more times than not. You don't want to be holding yourself back on this game because you're like, oh yeah, I went onto YouTube and I found this awesome build, and then I found the same gear as him, but I just can't do the same stuff as him. Well, that's because you have to spend time with the character. You can't just Take a barbarian, hit level 70, throw on all this gear, and expect to be doing the same kind of damage I am. You have to have the same kind of Paragon I have. You have to run the exact same skills in the exact same way. You have to learn what situation skills work best, and to do that, you need time. I think I have somewhere around like 300 hours almost, I think, in this game, which isn't a lot, obviously. There's a load. Come on. Is it really not going to show me? Oh, it only shows when you pull up other friends' profiles. So here, let's go to a good buddy of mine who has way more hours in this game than I do. He also but the amount of hours that he has in reflects the kind of character he runs. He runs a monk. He only runs a monk. He runs one of the best monks that I've ever seen. And oh yeah, I forgot. Xbox Live is down right now. So trying to look at other people's profiles is kind of a moot point. This is also, I'm going to say this right here at the end. Fuck you, Xbox. Why do I pay $25 every 3 months so you can shit on me by letting your system, your network, just go kaput? Not once, not twice, but 3, 4 times a month sometimes. That's bullshit. I don't pay $25 fucking a month to not play online. Like that's the whole point. Like I can quit paying my Xbox Live and just play by myself if that's what I want. But I play Destiny with friends. I play Call of Duty with friends. Hell, I play the Diablo with friends. So Xbox, if some random person happens to see this that works for Xbox, fuck you. Fix your shit. My name's Zeta. I love you guys. Bye bye.